Hey everybody, and welcome back to the fourth video. I'm going to show you in this video two things: how to log out from the server, and how to Firebase, and then how to monitor for status changes in your application in case the user signed out or signed in, or something happened on the server. So what you can do, you can say to sign out is as simple as this. You say you just say auth dot sign out, and it throws an exception, so it needs to be in a try or a do block. And this is what we're gonna do in here. All right, so if it's successful, fine. Otherwise, yeah, we need to print out the message. So in either case, we have a message that here saying .text. We have a message label. We can just put here signed out. And then here we'll just say unable to sign out. If we have an error for any reason. All right, so what happens in here, we got an error when we need to do a try in here. All right, so if we run it, see what happens. If I do log out, if we do log in, abc.com, and then log in, it should say welcome. If I do log out, we sign out. All right, I'm going to log in again and then show you what happens. So when you log in, you actually stay logged in on the server until you issue a sign out again, or something happened to the user on the server. But you stay logged in, so your app is connected to that user and it's logged in. This has benefit, of course, so you don't have to log in every time. You don't have to worry about storing credentials and all of that stuff. It's done for you by Firebase. I'm going to show you this in action. If you go to just to test it, if we go to the app delegate to show you two things. I'm going to get the current user. So if I say, how do we get the current user? So if we say let user equal auth dot auth, and to get the current user, this is the code to get the current user, right? So this will give you the current user, and this will tell you if it's nil, that means we're not logged in. If you're logged in, you actually have a user logged in. So just to show you, I'm going to print the email of that user when we logged in. So equal user dot email. All right, so this will appear only if the user is logged in. So this will give you the current user if the user is logged in. Otherwise, you will get nil, and nothing happens here. So if I run it again, that even before we do anything, you'll see that I got my email. So this all handled for you by this Firebase app delegate and the framework that you included at the beginning of this tutorial. This is important because if you need to know if your user is logged in or not. And there's another way to do that. You can determine within your app the status of the user, if they logged in, if they logged out, something happened to them, because you might be displaying sensitive information while they are in the app, and you want to be able to stop that at any point. All right. So what you can do, if you go to the view controller, you can listen to changes in the user status by doing this. You can define a variable. Let's say var equal, call it h handle, whatever you want, handler, and And I'm gonna this type of variable is called auth status state did change listener handler. All right, so this is optional, so we don't have to create it in the we don't have to have an initializer. So that's this variable or this block of code or this handler will handle any times something happened to the user. Now, I have included in my application 2 functions that you can include as well. When the view appears and when the view disappears. When the view appears, we want to create this handler and make sure that the user either logged in or logged out, or depending on your application, what you want to do with it. So you can do this. You can say handle there equal auth, and then the function auth. And inside of it, you can put the status. We want to add the status add state did change listener. So this would listen to any changes in the status of the user. And you can define the auth object and then the user. So if the user is nil, that means the user is not logged in anymore. If the user is not nil, that means the user is logged in. So I can do a simple check here. If we say if user equal nil, that means we did not, the user has status got changed, either logged out or something happened to that user on the server. Else, the user is actually logged in. And this is critical because you want to know in your applications what is happening all the time to the user status. So now you can do this. You can say self.text message or message.text, and I'm going to say logged in or logged out, signed out. Otherwise, we're going to do that user is signed in. Now you can do a lot more of this. I'm just showing you a lot more than just signed in or signed out, because now you have control on what happens to that user. Okay, again, put self in. What happens within your application, all right? So you can enable or disable functions anywhere in your application based on something like this. All right, so the last thing we need to do when the screen disappears, you can remove that handler or that listener anymore from monitoring for any state changes. You don't have to do this, but it's a good practice. Okay. Remove dead state listener, and then you type in the handler that we had. It's an optional. Okay. That's it. So if I run it, you'll see when we log in, the status will change, that message will change. So because I didn't log out, I'm still logged, I'm okay. Now if I logged out, I tried to do, if I do log out, signed out, right? So now if I do log in again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then abc.com, and then if I do log in, you'll see that it says welcome, but it's actually signed out. I'm signed in. So if I go back to the user, you'll see that I'm signed in still. Even if I terminate the application, I'm still signed in. So the only way I can get out of this is that you need to do log out. Okay, and it depends on how you design your app. If you need to, if it's going to be very, very secure all the time, and you need to authenticate the user every time, you can do that. Otherwise, you can follow this example and stay in, logged in until you decide on to sign out. All right, so that's the end of these videos related to authentication. In the next series of video, I'm going to show you how to access the database, and how, in particular, also on how to store more credential about a user. Because you can see that the stuff that we can store about a user are limited in functions, limited in Firebase, but we can do a lot more. And to do that, you need to store information in a database. All right. So I'll see you in the next video.